Well, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Friday. Happy Friday the 13th, actually. I know some of you might feel a little superstitious about it, or maybe even go get you a little Friday the 13th tattoo or something. So, hope this weekend goes great. And if you are stuck at work and just passing some time, I want to share a couple things with you. I'm going to go over the latest flip that we just closed on. And I've preached this and I've taught this for years that you do not have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to get complex to make money in real estate. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of background on this, and maybe it'll help you understand more about why we go in here and why I'm so passionate about real estate, because it truly gave us the leverage points to build a life around what we enjoy doing, which is not having to be beholden to somebody else's schedule. And it's not overnight. I'm just going to let you know that it takes a little bit of time to get out there and make it happen. And I will say, oh, sorry, ADHD is going wild today. I will say one of the things that I've enjoyed about real estate is the ability to make this stuff seemingly out of nowhere, right? Um, and I say that because we started in 2015 with $6,000, blah, blah, blah. You've heard me say that same song and same dance for years. It's true. For the people that don't know me or just now getting connected to me, I want you to understand that that's legit. That's how we got started, and that's how we've grown. We haven't put more money back into that business. We've literally started with that. We've maintained that. We've pulled that back out numerous times. All that to say, we've been flipping houses, well, almost a year after we got started, because we started with holds, buy and hold rentals. And, then an opportunity came up for a flip. And that was my wife's like green flag. Let's go. We're going to do this. Because it was that quick money. It comes in and you're like, oh, great. What do I do with this? Oh, I'm going to put it on another property. And then you build this amazing snowball of like just assets to grow it from. And it can be done from little to no money out of pocket. Yes, the gurus say that to hook you in so that you can go ahead and, buy their course. I don't have a course. So I'm letting you know that it can be done. It's not quite as simple as well, maybe not quite as easy, I should say, as they say, because you're going to need to find access to funds to make that work. Either way, let's go through this. And I'm going to show you why I encourage people to start out with just cosmetic flips, because it's a simple way to get started and not all that difficult. This one here that we just closed on is 4832 San Antone. This is in Bossier City, Louisiana. You're going to look in here because we just closed, and I want to just kind of brag on myself a little bit. If you go in and you see, I'm going to zoom in on this so you can see a little bit better. We actually took this on the market 823, and in one day we had it pending. Well, in 21 days we closed. So this buyer and their agent were great to work with, I've got to tell you. And I'm going to give a shout out to Melinda Scott on this. She was absolutely wonderful to work with. And yes, I would love to, and I look forward to working with her again. So let's go through. I'm going to show you some of the simplicities behind this. Do you see anything tricky here? I mean, no. If you notice, this was a 1971 build. There's still paneling here. There's still these spindles as you go through this half wall. We literally just put on some floor, some paint on the walls, new carpet, ceiling fans, light fixtures, doors, these kind of things, right? We didn't get too tricky. We actually did epoxy over the countertops. We put in some new appliances, and we understood the area and understood what the buyers in that area are paying for these homes. You'll notice that this is just an epoxy countertop. We didn't go granite. We didn't go all this other stuff because we wanted to make sure that we, number one, stayed within our margins. Number two, we go out here and we provide a product that is similar to the other homes in the area once they are remodeled. This one here, I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and fly through the rest of them so you can see that there was no hidden special thing that just everybody wanted. No, it was literally just a quality product at a great price. And I think that enough or not enough people focus on being able to deliver something like that. Let's go over some numbers. We purchased this from a wholesaler for $77,000. We put 20, what? We're in it for like 107, 108. All right. And we sold it for 150. So 77 to 107, that's going to be, call it what, 30,000? Yeah. Sorry. I got some afternoon coffee cooling off, so I'll get that brain fog out in a minute. But we're in it for about 30,000 on the rehab. Sold it for that. And let me see if I can bring up the HUD statement. If I can bring that up, then we will really kind of go through there. So, um, give me just a second. I want to bring up that and let you see what I see. All right, we'll go here and make sure my screen share looks right. Good. I'm going to zoom this in because this is the scanned copy, right? So $150,000 was the purchase price. We come in, we'll focus on the left side. We did offer 6,300 in closing costs to the buyer. This buyer was a VA buyer, and I wanted to make sure that, well, they need closing costs a lot of the times whenever they use that. But that's the great thing about being able to make these deals work. After everything else, 133. So, what did we net in that? We net $25,000 on just over $107,000 investment. So, let's go into what the calculator shows. So 25,000. That is over a 23% return, right? Now I'm going to, it doesn't show on my screen share here, but you can go do the math. Works out to a 23% return overall on this property. And also, let's keep in mind that I am a realtor and I do charge for that service, even to my wife and myself, because, well, you have to know where your revenue comes from so that you can say, is this a business that makes sense? And as that happens, I made 4,500 in commission on that just for the active sale to send that through. So roughly, we were closer to an actual $30,000 profit. And I know what some people are thinking. Well, big whoop, who cares? I don't know about you, but you know what the average salary is in Shreveport Bossier or just in general? So, how many houses would it take to flip a year, right? Now, you can go ahead and calculate what your taxes would be and everything because you're going to have to pay taxes. How many houses would you have to flip a year for this to make sense to replace your income and your operating expenses for living? Your house note, your insurance, all these different things. How many houses at even that small $25,000 profit? Because we have had houses that flipped for 60, 70, $80,000 profits before. Hell, I've made a $50,000 wholesale. So how many of those do you have to have before you could replace that job that you might be working that you have to sit there and give up 40 hours a week plus of your life for? I don't want you to sit here and think like, oh, I'm going to go jump off into real estate. I'm just here to expand what you think about how you earn your money. What would you do with the freedom of being able to go out here and do other things? Say you want to go to, the Bahamas for a week. You want to go on a cruise. Well, whenever you're in this and you're generating this kind of income from other things, and I even have people that still work at W-2 and flip houses on the side. They don't have aspirations, and neither do we, of being on HGTV or being that next flipping couple. No, I don't give two shits about that. But what I do care about is the profits and the freedom that those profits afford me. Now, was this an easy flip? Well, here's where we get down to the nitty gritty because I'm going to share some of the stuff that we've had. And with everything, there's going to be challenges, right? And we just learn to deal with those challenges accordingly. So we purchased the property. It had tenants in there. And those tenants, they didn't like the fact that they were going to have to go. Even though what we were looking at was initially holding this property, we were going to take it up, put it on Section 8, and get the market rents up to where it should have been, which was going to be about $1,300, $1,400 a month, because this was a larger home for the area. Well, we decided that by the time those tenants left, And we could go out here and we could just kind of get some of the work done to it, put the cosmetics in there like we just showed you. And that's how we were going to do it. And then we were thinking by the time we do that, why don't we just flip it? Because we could flip it and make a great profit. So we looked at that. I engaged a contractor who shall not be named. I'm not trying to drag anybody on this, but they completely mismanaged the project. And I'm going to take ownership and say I mismanaged the contractor. Even though I put in everything else that I should have done, I put in the liquidated damages, we signed the contract, everything else. Um, I didn't hold them, or at least I didn't follow up on the expectation of the quality of work that they were going to deliver. They used some subs that took shortcuts, and then we had to go in there. And finally, it got to the point after about 2 months of them being overdue on the rehab. I said, "You got to go." So we worked out a walk away agreement. They walked, and then I brought in another contractor for a total of 17,000 to get that property back up to where it should have been. And this is where I'm going to let you know, starting out, you're going to most likely try to shortcut your contractors. I don't know anybody that hasn't, to say, "Oh, I'm going with the lowest bid. This person's the lowest, and that's what I can afford. That's what I'm going to do." Yeah, well, you can pay for quality now, or you can pay for quality later, baby. Let me just tell you that is it's a lesson that I repeatedly learned. Didn't say I was too quick on the uptake. Okay, so I'm saying that it's something that I'm still working through it. Uh, Sometimes it gets the better of me, and I still think that, oh well, this low price. I mean, it's just paint. How skilled do you have to be? I'm not hiring Michelangelo. Well, neither did I get Leonardo, Donatello, or Raphael, because none of the Ninja Turtles showed up and painted worth a shit on this house. Well, what do? Now you bring in the contractor, you get them to finish it up. And thankfully they did. They did so well that whenever I took it to market, got my photos, had three showings, had a multiple offer situation, took the one that made the most sense. And then 21 days later, we closed and we put 25,000 in the pocket. Well, that's great. We also are looking for our next flip. We plan to do one more before the year is up. Well, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm just a poor country boy that used to deal poker back in the day, and I would have been ecstatic making 50, 60, $70,000 a year. Now, why would I give up a whole year of my life to make that money when I can simply leverage other people, leverage debt, leverage finances to make these things happen? And is it an overnight thing? Absolutely not. But you got to start somewhere. There's this saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. So if this is something that you've been interested in, I want you to understand that I plan to give a free webinar again. And I do these, sporadically throughout the year. I give these webinars about flipping houses, but also getting the money to flip these houses and showing you that if you have a network, that you can actually go over here and tap into that network. And while you come to me for the financing, the down payment, you might source through your network and give them a piece of that deal for believing in you and coming in and making that deal happen. That's anything that you have an interest in. I encourage you, stay with me on social media, keep following, because whenever we get back from Las Vegas next week on the 24th, I want you to, take a look. I'm going to be making an announcement for the next webinar that I'm going to do. Again, it'll talk about flipping houses, going through, getting the financing, working with contractors. Not that I'm a pro at that shit, but I'm going to go through that and show you in theory, in principle, how you should do it, right? And if you have anything in the meantime, if you are looking at a flip and you do have something under contract and you're looking for financing, I've got people with pockets that we're looking to deploy that capital. And it is based on the asset. So am I looking for your credit score? Not necessarily. I'm looking at how will this perform? Is there enough equity? Can we make the deal work? I promise you, when people come to me for loans, I look to see how we can make it work. And if we can't, well, then I'm very blunt and I'm respectful of your time about it. And I'm also not going to take all kind of fees or anything up front and then deny you. That's not how I operate. That's not how I'm going to operate. That's anything that you have an interest in. Please connect with me, stay with me, share this, get the word out to anybody that you might be thinking would be interested in flipping houses or learning more. And then also, you can go to my website and you can get a free copy of my book. It talks about wholesaling, rentals, flips, all that good stuff. And go there, learn it for free. Go on YouTube University. I'm telling you, the power to change your life is so much at hand now than it ever has been because the data is there, right? The information is there. You just simply have to go out there and source it. I learned on YouTube and Google. I mean, I ain't saying that that's the most sophisticated way, but I am saying that it works. So get out there, learn, take action, and don't give up the rest of your life for this illusion of safety. All right. Anyway, I'm going to go before I go into another tangent. Hope that y'all have a great evening. If you need anything, I'm around. Reach out. Take care.